Hey everybody, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for this devotional. Today we are going to complete chapter 5 of 1 Timothy, and we're going to read verse 19 through 22. Paul says to his young protege, "Do not admit a charge against an elder," so a leader in the church, "except on the evidence of 2 to 3 witnesses. As for those who persist in sin," so in other words, if they continue down this path, "rebuke them in the presence of all, so that the rest may stand in fear. In the presence of God and of Christ Jesus and of the elect angels, I charge you," so he's pushing him here, "to keep these rules without prejudging, doing nothing from partiality." So he's hoping that inside the nature of the church here that they won't have prejudice. "Do not be hasty in the laying on of hands, nor take part in the sins of others. Keep yourself pure." Now, this entire section of chapter 5 helps us to understand how church members relate to leaders in a church. And we started the section by giving them double honor, if you remember that. But here there's a new twist. If there's a charge against these elders or leaders, we move from double honor to double jeopardy. But there is a process for addressing all this. This means that there's a vetting process both for choosing a spiritual leader and for challenging one. And the challenge to a spiritual leader has 3 steps to it. First, if there's an issue, we need corroborating evidence from 2 to 3 other observers. Second, if evidence does exist, then there should be a carefrontation about the subject. And third, if the leader has no intention to change, then the members go public with a rebuke. And the whole process has to be done without bias, which I think would be really hard, because in the church, relationships can become very entangled and enmeshed. And then Paul advises Timothy to do this, to go slow in selecting leaders and stay pure in the way that he leads himself. Now, this is one of the things about any kind of leadership that many, I think, fail to understand. Leadership plays by different rules, and some enter the realm of leadership because they're secretly looking for things like respect or recognition or position or power or even pay. They may not say it at the time, or they may not even know it because they've never wrestled with their motivations. And then some get into it too quickly and bump into many of these issues, which reveals their real motivation was for things like respect and recognition and power, position, or pay. This is why in the following verses, Paul says this. So I'm skipping down to the end of the chapter. He says, "The sins of some people are conspicuous or clear, going before them to judgment, but the sins of others appear later. They're less conspicuous. So also good works are conspicuous or clear, and even those that are not cannot remain hidden." So the point that Paul is trying to make in this section is this: desire leadership. But if you do desire it, address any of your impure motivations, because your leadership plays by different rules. And you may not like these rules when they expose you or your impure desires that get addressed publicly by other people. That's it right here. So do that today. Consider whether or not you have some impure motivations or desires that come out of your leadership. And I would just think about the different roles that you play, whether it be a husband or a father or a leader or a friend or a superior. Think about those things and acknowledge and confess those issues before they undo you. I love you guys. I pray this blesses you. If it has, share it with someone else. And I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.